Oh my god. What? Oh my god. Pong? I mean, I'm taking a hot shower in the middle of the mountains. And there's so much water. Pong. You don't understand. Oh, God, I'm all wet.
We are doing an impromptu video because I've been using the van for a while now, so I figured my business partner, we're meeting here for some work stuff. He's never used the Storyteller van or enjoyed the Storyteller shower before, and he just had a shower, and I'll cut in the clip of his first experience a little bit. But we're gonna ask him his genuine reaction of what it feels like to use the shower.
Sure, this is awesome.
So you heard it. He wants me to record
No,
showering.
don't look inside.
Okay, so turn that knob on.
So wait, okay.
Okay, turn the right hand side. There's a knob. Turn it on, and then and then see that. Yep, there's a valve on the actual faucet.
It's like a control.
Yes.
Oh wow, it's so hot. Oh my god.
What? Oh my god.
Pong? I mean, I'm taking a hot shower in the middle of the mountains. And there's so much water. Pong. You don't understand. Oh, God, I'm all wet. It's so much better, Pong, than a bottle shower. Oh, gosh. You gotta understand, Pong, in my whole 40,000+ miles of touring on the KLR, like, my shower would be a 2-liter Coke bottle that's been sitting on the exhaust side of my luggage, so hopefully it gets hot, you know. That's the hottest, bro. This is absurd. This should be illegal in the country.
When I'm backpacking, I'm used to jump into a creek or a river. Oh, did you drop the stuff?
Careful. No ideas. It is a little intimate, I gotta say. It's been a while since I spoke to somebody from the shower. So this is cool.
So, what do you think
Of?
the shower?
It's pretty special.
Can you handle it? That the fact that there is not a set toilet or set, shower.
Well, absolutely.
Cabinet.
Like, you don't use that room very often, and why would you? And it's a room you tend to not use even if you have a chance to use it because you have another option.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like if you're eating at a restaurant or something.
So that's awesome because he came up with that. I did not feed that. I promise I did not feed that info to him. And that was my thought when I first looked at the van because I compared Revo with the Storyteller. And my first thought was this giant chunk of space is not being used it's being used only for a few minutes a day. When you're taking a shower, especially with a limited amount of water, my shower is like 5 minutes long, even less.
Yeah.
So you for the rest of the day, you're carrying around this giant block of thing that's blocking your view, blocking your usable space. Now, to be fair, in Revo, you can turn that into a closet. But then why would you buy something with a shower? What's the point? I do have to point out that if you like your toilet, there's nothing wrong with it because some people just have to have their toilet. Now, I actually think this is a really important thing to consider if you're trying to decide between Revo and Storyteller because I think for Storyteller is more for the type of people like us.
Yeah. Because
I've done what you did, which was hang the bag on the side of a car and just kind of duck halfway down, shower in the open, naked in the open. When I go backpacking, when I get to a creek, I have done squatting down in the creek, just splashing water on me. Or most of the time, fortunately in Eastern Sierra there are a lot of lakes, so I would just jump in the lake. And really, if you want to shower, you don't even need soap. You can jump into a lake or a creek for 1 minute and come out and you feel refreshed.
Yeah.
For me, that's perfectly fine. That's a shower. And I think for people like us, this is luxury.
Yeah, this is luxury for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. So the way I do what you guys do is on a motorcycle. So it's a lot more involved intimately with nature because everything is hitting you, right? So, and if you ride this kind of stuff, you're going to get dirty, inevitably, you know, through your layers and stuff. It's just a lot of dust. So, and I've never, in my 40,000 miles plus of adventure touring, I've never skipped a day of showering. Because for me, it's like how you end the day. I don't like to shower in the morning. I shower in the, you know. So you clean it off, you go to bed, watch your pictures, go to sleep, and you sleep like a baby. And it's either, like you said, it's either in a creek, it's either in, you know, in wherever you can find it. Like little faucets, you know, I've done that before, where you fill your water and stuff. I was, you know, pants and all that, or shorts.
Yep.
Sprinkler system, that all that. But this was special because this is the perfect way to end a day like today.
Yeah, it was exhausting and so sandy.
Yeah.
You just feel dirty because everything you touch is
and that
has
hot
grime.
water, like just completely getting you wet. Because my, you know, I used to 2-liter Coke bottle, clear, or whatever I drank that day, and I put that on the either on the side of the motorcycle that has the exhaust. For the KLR, it's the right side. So I put it there so that the muffler can heat it and so that the sun can heat it, right? And that's my warmest shower. So to come here and have like it was like hot. It was amazing. It was so good. It was so good. It's as good as putting cream on after a day like this where you've been beat by the sun and like the altitude, and then you put like this thick, and this is argan oil, my man. This is oil. Yeah, on your dry skin, it's just like, oh,
actually, I do need to
man.
put on. I need to put something on because
that's how good it
it's
feels.
so dry here.
So I'm impressed with the shower. It's very smart. It's out of the way. It doesn't force you to store shit that you otherwise wouldn't store.
Mm-hmm.
It's always better to have free space, you know?
Yeah.
So it's great. I like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's the same.
Spacious too.
Yeah, it's the same thing with toilet too. Because I actually prefer, if I don't have this van, I don't have the porta potty. If I have to take a number 2, I actually prefer to go out and dig a hole and do it in the wild instead of going to, you know, some porta potty, disgusting public porta potty, and it's perfectly fine for me. But I know some people, you know, they have to have their toilet. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, you know what I was also thinking? That's a good point. Yeah, like people are okay with taking a dump in a New York subway bathroom. But not like digging a hole, you know, here with this beautiful view. It's incredible. God, this view, Pong, I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
To feel this clean and this hydrated at the end of a day of riding is
That's the view. That's the view outside.
Now, I want to stress, I'm still sleeping outside in a tent.
Right.
Oh, man. No,
So,
just kidding. No, I like that experience, yeah.
So he refuses to sleep inside. He set up a tent outside. I'm gonna put the bed down, this Groove Lounge down for him, because I think it's gonna get down to 27 degrees tonight.
No.
So, yes.
No way.
Well, I checked weather. It was saying it was 27. Well, no, I'm sorry. Aspendale.
Yeah.
It's 27.
No way.
So it's probably going to be 30 still. 30, 35. Well,
see,
it's
man.
fine because I've winter camp, snow camp is always colder. than
Yeah,
that.
but I didn't bring all that.
Oh, you didn't bring that?
I mean,
Okay.
now I'm just gonna put everything
Well,
I got.
I'm going to give you a set of keys, and I'm going to put this bed down.
Okay.
And if you want to grab your mattress and come in
If I
at 2 a.m.
to be incredibly politically incorrect, if you're saying if I puss out in the middle of the night. Oh, Pong.
Well, anyone want to take a bet what time he comes in?
That's good. Money down on 1 o'clock, money down on 2 o'clock.
Oh,
That's funny.
well, that was good. It's good to hear someone because he's never experienced this. Like, this is the first time, right? First time in the van. So I was really curious to see what his reaction is about how to use the shower, how to use the toilet and kitchen and everything and power.
And you know what? As you know, I'm not like new to this.
Oh yeah, because you.
Yeah.
Oh, you were van lifing before there was van lifing, because you went to, was it like that was like 15 years ago, right?
That was in I graduated 2013, 2011.
2011. Okay.
Oh shoot, yeah, that was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, so 11 years ago, I lived in a 26-foot Coachman Leprechaun, 1984, or yeah, just amazing thing. For 2 years, and those were the same 2 winters that in Michigan, University of Michigan, closed its doors for the second time in its 200-year-old history. It closed the doors because of cold.
When you first told me you were gonna get an RV and live in it, I was like, you're crazy.
But that's another thing. So I know cold RVs, and I was amazed. I mean, we were too hot. It was 78 degrees when we went to bed. It was too hot, and it stayed pretty hot. So the insulation is amazing. But so my point, but I didn't travel with it. It didn't even barely move there. It took a while just to get there. So that's another key. Like, you're living in this thing pretty much, full time or mostly.
So it was actually one of those traditional RVs, and you didn't winterize it, right?
No, I basically shoved whatever garbage I could find underneath it.
Back then, you probably didn't even know what winterizing is or means.
Well, I lived in it. Why would I winterize it?
Well,
I should have, because everything cracked.
Because all the pipes broke.
But it's like the second winter, because it hit minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
This is in Michigan, by the way.
That's almost minus 30 Celsius. That's how crazy that scale is.
Yeah.
It's cold. And it was sunny. There was no snow. But the university closed the doors because they didn't want people dying waiting for the bus on a sunny day, That was that cold. So I remember, if it hit 9 degrees Fahrenheit, I couldn't stay in the vehicle no matter what I did. 4 stove burners, big one, not like yours.
Mm-hmm.
4 stove burners.
Propane ones.
Fully on. Propane, yeah. Stove. Propane, fully on. Of course, sleeping with the CO2 detector.
Okay, I was going to say, that's kind of dumb to keep that.
Well, tell me about it. It's that cold. So it's just cold. Heated blanket. Of course, running power from the property, because it's a lot of power that it's running. Heater as well until it flips the switch. Room heater, space heater. So heated blanket and all my winter camping gear. And my winter, because you taught me how to winter camp.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we would sleep in the snow because you taught me how to do that. Snowshoeing and all that. So I have the right gear.
Mm-hmm.
9 degrees, no way. So you can't. This is incredible. Like, the way this is, you can tell that you said it was wool. It's real.
Yeah, some kind of wool in there. Yeah, I can't. Havelock or something. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, I sleep on a wool. We use it for everything, but it's supposed to be. I love that stuff.
I think they also use wool because it's better for moisture control or something. Yeah, I'm not sure about.
See, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, of course, moisture is what eats an RV.
Yeah. This is the reason why I didn't want to build my own or have someone who doesn't know what they're doing build it, because I'm hoping that going with a manufacturer, either Winnebago or Storyteller, they have people who know what they're doing when they're designing the van, and they have thought of all of this. And it's pretty crazy. I like, one thing I like about Storyteller is they also take feedback from owners. They actually make a lot of changes on the 2022, for example. See, this switch, this touch screen, the touch light switch, touch button, light switch. Can't talk right now.
Oof, that was a lot. Touch button switch.
Touch sensitive light switch breaks all the time. So for the new model year, they actually replaced this with just a push button. I wonder, I'm gonna check with them, see if I can replace this with a push button. I mean, like, these are all push button, right?
It's like when a car has a volume button that's push button instead of a knob.
Yeah, I hate.
Like, don't change.
I love analog. I hate touch sensitive stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's just begging to be
and wet hands and all that.
Yeah, just begging to break. Oh, so there's an aux button here. I'm thinking about putting a garage light,
but
because the garage light is in the back.
I saw it.
So you cannot turn it on if you're in the front. And in the 2022, like people complain about that, and in the 2022 they have that switch now. So they yeah, it's. I love.
But here's a counter because, sorry, the counter, because this just happened and I'm applying. I can also see the benefit. So in our Honda Goldwing, yours and mine, the yellow Goldwing that we use for the cycle, the emergency blinker lights is stuck because the glue, the lubrication inside.
Oh, you mean the push buttons?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not functioning well, and that's known problem for those bikes because it's a 2003. So, the switch costs like $300 at least, you know, and you have to change it. It's a big thing. So this prevents that. You never have a chance to develop that kind of.
Yeah, I guess there's pros and cons for everything.
You know?
So
it'd be interesting to see what the people say about that new switch. Is it a better thing or not? You know.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you'd be perfect for that because you have experience. You would have experience with both. You know.
Mm.
So ask for the switch.
I don't think it's compatible with this.
You don't think
we'll
so?
see. No, I don't think so. But I am really glad that I have all of these right here, because this system, the one weakness of the Storyteller van, I think personally, is a lot of stuff is relying on the Volta. So when our Volta broke, the whole van broke. Volta is this battery system. So this battery system controls everything. So everything's all electronic.
Sure.
Your pump runs on the power. Your fridge runs on the power. Your air conditioning. I mean, it's a diesel, but you still need electricity to run it, to turn it on. And yeah, so everything's relying on that. So when that broke, when the battery in my van broke, everything stopped working.
In this van?
Yeah. So they had an issue. Go watch. There we go. There's a plug. Go watch my previous videos on Volta to find out what we're talking about. So when that happened, this is like one point of failure. Now this is fixed, and so far it's been reliable. Knock on fake wood.
No, I think that's real.
No, it's fake. But I'm just thinking for the new one, they have a touchscreen that controls everything. So I would upgrade to the new one, except that thing scares me, because if that screen breaks, like here, if let's say the water pump switch broke, I can still turn on all this heat and everything. If this breaks, I can still turn on water pump and just have cold water. But if that touchscreen breaks, how are you going to control anything? You can't control anything.
So the new
anymore.
ones have a touchscreen?
The new ones will have that one giant touchscreen. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So
wow.
I mean,
so everything in this little screen.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but you know, that's the thing is, that's where the RV industry is going. A lot of our new RVs are like that, which I hate, because I love a physical button switch.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
because you can fix it. You could take it apart. You could fix it.
Yeah, what I like, I think the Revel still have those giant bulky plastic switches, and I love those. I wish they have these instead of these fans. I mean, these really do look very pretty, but man,
no, dude,
this type of vehicle, this type of vehicle.
If you don't have lights,
this type of vehicle, you're going to be taking it to. I want to take this to really rural places, and if something breaks, like all these touch sensitive things, if they break, what's going to happen?
Well,
you know?
what is the story of that couple, that the German couple, maybe they're Austrian or Swiss, that took it on a Mercedes G-Wagon? They were like the first original Overlanders, still living in their, after 20 years. The thing has like 500,000 miles.
But that was an old school G-Wagon.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
With all mechanical parts.
500,000 miles, because probably more. I don't remember now, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
Gunther or something was his name. I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Super famous. I'm embarrassed I don't remember their name, but so yeah, 500,000 miles, because it's simple diesel thing that works. So all you have to do is destroy the screen, and you can't control your van. Is that what you're telling me?
I think so. I never. Clarification: I haven't been in one of those new vans, but from what I can tell, there's no other way to control things unless you have the touchscreen. Everything's controlled by the one touchscreen. So if you have a new van and if something different, like if there are manual overrides, comment below.
Yeah, okay. I mean, how would there be manual overrides if they don't have buttons? That's what buttons are. They're manual overrides.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I honestly don't know. At the time, I had an option to wait for the 2022 or get the 2021. There were two reasons why I stuck with my original order. One is, if I waited for 2022, I probably still either would be getting the van now or still waiting for it. And within this time frame, I put 18,000 miles on the van. I've done so much. I've been to Zion, Utah. I've been to Arizona, Grand Canyon. I've done, countless trips. Oh, I did a trip from here to Colorado from California to Colorado to Indiana, with the Door Adventure, which is a story for another time. And then I've done, Oregon coast and all that, and it's like life changing. It made life so much better. Yeah, it's life changing.
That's awesome.
No, seriously, unless you go book a hotel or you decide to go camp somewhere, weekend trips used to be short trips to nearby day hikes. 3 or 4 hours for me is Sierra Nevada driving distance. Yeah. If I'm doing a local hike, it's usually an hour and a half driving to 2 hours driving to get there, and then 2 hours to drive back. So that's 3 to 4 hours driving, but I'm only doing local hikes. Okay, so if I go do weekend 2 local hikes, that's the same amount of driving time as if I just drive this van to Sierra Nevada, do 2 days of awesome hiking, and then go back, drive back.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So yeah, it is life changing. And also, I no longer plan for trips. I used to have really detailed plan, because whether you're staying in a campground or if you're going to a hotel, you're bound by that location. So if I want a sudden change of plan, or if the weather doesn't turn out, I'm stuck. I can't do anything else. Or I have to forfeit whatever cancellation fee. So we went to Zion and we were going to go north. We thought about going to Colorado, but then there was a snowstorm that hit. And we're like, no, we'll just go south to Grand Canyon. So we did Grand Canyon, amazing, and we loved it so much, we ended up spending the rest of the trip in Grand Canyon. For day trips, there are only those spots that you can cover. Yeah, you can do some hikes. People, and you can do some day hikes, obviously, but there are only those trails. But once you have the van, you can do a lot of the off-road roads on the south rim, on the north rim, where you normally wouldn't do. Now you can actually start looking for campgrounds or get permits for campgrounds on the rim to sleep at. Or there are even BLM lands on the rim where you can find places to sleep, and you don't need to plan it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's why.
Because the north rim looks pretty impressive, like all those roads. But they look like you're invested, because they're at least 20 miles in, 20 miles of hard dirt road.
Yep.
You got to be invested, so it's good that you could spend a day there. It'd be a nightmare to have to, run back.
Well, that's the thing, is you don't have to spend a day there. That road, if I took a Jeep, it would be bouncy, and then I have to sleep in a tent. Dirty, no shower, no food, no good food. But now I can bounce in, stay for one night, and then bounce on to another spot where before I have to go back out or sleep uncomfortably, or go drive all the way back out and drive all the way back in, drive all the way back out, drive all the way back in. Now I can just bounce from one spot to the next spot to the next spot, and if I have enough fuel, have enough water, that's all the limitations I have.
Yeah, you're right. We didn't travel a lot today. We covered how many miles?
Yeah, actually, that's another thing I noticed is once I had the van, I actually drive less.
Yeah.
I tour everything in much more detail than before.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look at where we are now.
Yeah. Like places I wouldn't stop before, I now stop because I have all the time in the world. I don't have to rush to a hotel or anything.
Yeah. That's like the freedom.
Yeah.
That's why motorcyclists like to travel on a motorcycle, because it gives you that freedom.
Well, I think that's why people, the overlanders, overlanders are more hardcore. I'll grant them that. I don't call this overlanding. This is like
you're limited.
This is like glamping version of overlanding. It depends on what your definition of overlanding is. Because for some people, overlanding, you have to have a pickup truck and you have to sleep on the roof, which is ridiculous. Because unless you're in Africa and there's animal, you don't need to sleep on the roof. You can sleep inside the car perfectly fine. It just looks cool. It's great for Instagram pictures. But But yeah, I mean, some people define overlanding as, you know, you just drive off the road, like these forest roads, the pack road.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. You can do it in a 2-wheel drive. People do it in those old Volkswagen buses.
Yeah.
So you don't need a hardcore vehicle. I'm in that camp. But you know, for some people, they're all about you have to have a Tacoma or a Jeep with a rooftop tent. So it depends on what your definition is. For me, I prefer this type of glamber landing. Copyright. Glamour trademark. Glamour landing.
Glamper landing.
I think this is actually turning into a more comprehensive video than I originally thought. Originally, I thought it was just your reaction, but now it's turning into my.
Yeah. So that was my question. Why do you do this? You know, like, why do you do this in this way? And you answered it.
Kind of answer it.
Yeah, the freedom. You know. Yeah. Okay, so here's a hard question now for you. But you need to be like super honest. You need to be 100% honest. What is the thing that you find most difficult to accept, to use politely, about this kind of lifestyle?
Overlanding or full-time van lifing?
Oh, that's a good question. You see, now you're making a but what's the difference? That's the thing. Are you saying that the overlanders who live in their overland vehicles are not van lifing?
Overlanding, I feel like overlanding is more like a really extended adventure.
Yeah.
If I'm going on a trip from the Pan America Highway, after I'm done, I still have a home to go to.
Oh, I see.
So it's just a really, really long vacation. Van lifers actually live in their van, either by choice or not by choice. This is their home. This is it. Like, they don't have a place to go to. They might have a self-storage somewhere. Yeah. They might have a self-storage somewhere for some stuff, but they don't. This is their home.
I think now that you've made these two distinctions, which I think are correct, between van lifing and overlanding, there's one thing they share. I'm just thinking out loud now afterwards. There's one thing that's really, really the worst thing about this lifestyle that they share. However, you are able to avoid it because of this van. And that is the dreaded knock. Like, van lifers, like I lived in the van, it didn't move from where it was. That's where they live, and they're usually urban. Overlanders are far from people. You still would dread a freaking knock in the middle of here, you know?
Yeah.
But, I don't know. What do you think of that?
You know, even van lifer, there are overlanding van lifers. This is where we're getting into way too complicated. Yeah. But people who do van life, but they still go to this type of, you know, BLM land and this type of places, then I don't think it's dreaded. But some people actually do live in their van in cities. Uh-huh. So for those, I think that's a big
meaning
worry.
not only in city limits, but not on private land.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, there are people there are people who do that. I cannot say that's the worst thing for me personally. Uh-huh. For some full-time van lifer, maybe that is the most dreaded, the most horrible thing for them. For me, I cannot do van life. Like, this van is great for one person, but even for one person, when I'm living by myself in it for a few weeks at a time for work or whatever, it gets crowded because you have all this stuff. I have camera equipment, I have kitchen, I have all of that. Yeah. So for example, if I want to get a water filter, I have to move a box above it or another box above it, and then I have to put everything back. And if you do it a few times, it's not a big deal. But if you keep doing it over and over and over, and you have to do this in the full-time van life fashion, I think that would drive me crazy.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And it's also, I do this as an extended trip, but it's still nice to be able to go home and at the end of the day and take a long shower without having to worry about water running out, or without have to worry about where am I going to dump my gray tank. It's not for everyone, and I respect those people who do, because, you know, if you can make it work, it's a hard life, but I think it's still a rewarding life. because you are seeing so much stuff.
Yeah.
And every day is, most days are probably boring, but when the nice days happen, like today, when you have that view.
Clouds, yeah.
Yesterday during the day I was working and I was really boring, but sunrise, sunset, when the scenery is beautiful, when you get to a place where it's beautiful, and it's totally worth it, I think, doing van life.
Yeah.
So was that kind of answering your question?
Yeah. It's kind of cool how it shifted to like making distinctions between like urban van lifers or van lifers in urban areas. Because I was on a private property that's nowhere near as similar as like somebody who's living on a beach or something. You know? Yeah. So, and you also did the same with overlanding. Those people who are going for long trips, or like you, who you have a house to go back to.
Yeah, you stay away from the city. Yeah,
so it's very interesting. So it's pretty cool. No, that answered it. That's pretty.
Yep. That's why a lot of van lifers, they love Crack and Barrel because you can park there, and also they have gym membership because you can shower, like go to a real shower.
Yeah, I can see that. And you want to exercise.
Yeah, and it sort of feels like you have a house because you go into a real shower.
And there's people too, like it's a different injection.
Yeah. The bottom line is, if you really want to do van life, just understand it's not easy. It's hard work, but there are ways to make it work. You just have to. I think the longest I've stayed in the van was actually when we were in New Zealand. We stayed in the van for 2 months, and in the first 2 weeks was the hardest. But once you get into a flow, it actually becomes much easier. And at the end of 2 months, we loved it.
Yeah.
If you can get into wherever your habit and everything, I think it's definitely gonna get easier as it goes along. So, all right. Well, that was a really long video. We can keep going all night if we keep going like this. I'll just cut it off at that. Like I said, impromptu. No script or anything, so I'll probably have a lot of ums and ahs and and I hate that. But there we go. But that's what happens when I don't plan on these videos ahead of time. So very natural, very organic. There we go. So if you like this type of stuff, leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. It is 10:43 p.m. All right, good night.
Set that up just in case, though.
So what? Oh yeah, I'll set the bed up.
Peace out. Oh shit! Damn, it's cold. Oh no.
Oh.
It's super cold. Okay, bye.
Good night.